your responsibility, that means also the buck stops with you. Once you can't blame someone else for your problems, the buck stops with you. And sure, that seems hard, but now you can actually fix it, because if you're angry at someone else,
I challenge any of you to do something hard. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. This is harder than beating drug addiction.
Kilby Sugar Smackdown Challenge. It's a silly name, but it's serious business. And why am I so weird? There's a lot of reasons why I'm weird. I wish I could tell you all of them. I don't know. What I've learned over the years is that I'm a little weird because I don't like being serious. Not because I don't think things are serious, but as a defense mechanism. And I tell you that because that's what tool we're working on today. Self-assessment, self-examination, and reflection. Why are we the way we are? Why do we do what we do? How do we look at ourselves? How do we find our triggers? What motivates us? How do we tick? And what can we do with that? Before we get into the video, I'd like to thank Element for sponsoring this video. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink that has all the stuff you want with none of the junk. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. And I can never say potassium right. Potassium. It's a science-backed recipe that has all the stuff you want with none of the junk. No sugars, no gluten, no dodgy ingredients. Keto-friendly, paleo-friendly, carnivore-friendly. I say every time that I let myself have some of the flavored stuff on the weekends, and I just remembered that they have a chocolate flavored because it was cold out this morning. I was like, oh, some hot chocolate sounds good. Well, one, it's Tuesday, so I can't drink it on Tuesday unless I give myself some grace, but which I do sometimes. But then I was like, oh, this weekend I get some chocolate, get a nice hot glass of it, and be like, oh yeah, I've had the chocolate, I've had the caramel chocolate before. I've tried that. Those are good. The mint chocolate I know my wife liked. But yeah, Element is one of these things that helped me greatly on my diet, because as I gained energy from my diet, I started exercising more. As I started exercising, I needed more electrolytes. And this is one of these things that, like, it's easy to forget you need electrolytes. I still forget sometimes, but thanks to Element, it makes it easy. Just put some in one of my drinks every single day and just know that I'm getting the electrolytes I need to make sure I don't get cramped and fatigued and things like that. So right now, Element is offering one of these free sample packs with all 8 of their flavors to any of our viewers. All you got to do is go to drinkelement.com/Kilby. That's DRINKLMNT.com/Kilby. And you'll get one of these free sample packs that has 8 of all their flavors, so you could try them out and see what you like, and then order more through our link. So self-examination, reflection are really significant when it comes to healing or overcoming addiction, any kind of addiction. But, you know, because carb addiction or sugar addiction is no different than alcohol or drug addiction in the fact that it lights up your brain. You get that dopamine hit, you feel low, you're searching for something to make you feel better. And a lot of times we don't know why we feel low. Sometimes we just feel low, and that's okay. But sometimes it can come from deep, like, seated traumas growing up. And if we don't take time to work on those things, or at least notice they're a problem in the first place, see them, notice they're a problem, start working on them, reflecting on them, we're never going to get to the root causes of why we're addicted to this stuff. It's not that it's just addicting. It's because we want it for some reason. We run to it for some reason. My goal is that I'll be able to help give you ideas to help empower you to make some positive decisions and choices in your life. I'm hoping to encourage you to work on yourself, to look at yourself, and to be hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace, but be working towards something that's important, which is your health. fly. Ultimately, the goal of all these videos in this series that I'm doing is for you to break the bonds of addiction in your life, that you could be set free from them. And taking the time to reflect, self-examine, is one of the ways and one of the tools that you'll need to use a lot if you would like to break free from your addictions. Also, this one is where you might have to seek professional help. A lot of us have deep issues that we've never worked through. There's things that we might need to go see a therapist for. You know, it's good to be in community. There's some things you might be able just to bring to the community and share there, but there might be some things that are deeply rooted that you might need a professional to help you with. Some things that just a community or your loved ones aren't really equipped to help you with. Nor sometimes there are things that are so heavy that, you know, burdening them with them, things might scare you also. I guess I would like to just start off with this story. So for the first 11, 12 years of my life, when I was growing up, I had a man in my life that I called Dad. He married my mom when I was a couple years old. I believe they were together before that. But I called this guy Dad. And he's the one that would help tuck me in at night. He would give me kisses, you know, a kiss goodnight. And I remember having his mustache like tickling me. And he was my dad. He was my dad. And what happened about 11, 12 years old is that my mom and him got a divorce. And he wasn't my biological father, which I knew that from a very early age, that he wasn't my biological father, but he was my dad. But my mom and him divorced about 11, 12 years old. And, you know, that's tough for anyone at 11, 12 years old, have a divorce, even if it's not your biological father. I know I didn't get to see him that much after that divorce, but I remember a Christmas that came after that, not too long after that, and he showed up and he brought presents, you know, for his 3 biological kids. And I look back at that and I'm like, that sucked. That being said, I was kind of a delinquent kid, and I probably didn't deserve anything. But I remember just thinking, like, I felt like he forgot about me. He forgot about me, and it's one of those things I think back, I'm like, man, that sucked, man. I don't know. He passed away a few years ago. It's probably been, I don't know, 10 years ago now, maybe. But I'm thankful that I knew him. I'm sad that he's gone. I still think of him often. But that kind of having a dad, not having a dad thing is really affected my life. But a thing that happened to me was when I was about 21 years old. I had an opportunity to meet my biological father. He didn't know I existed, and I got one of those AOL CDs, and I had someone, you know, me and someone were doing research, and we found someone that he was related to, and we called them, and we're like, oh, yeah, I got a phone call. It was like, I think I'm your dad. You want to send some pictures? And yeah, I ended up looking just like him, so we'd have to do any of that genetic testing or anything. But at the year of 21, I was able to start a relationship with my biological father. And after knowing him a few years, I ended up moving from Washington State all the way out here to Ohio. That's how I got here. And I've been out here 20 years, and I've known him for 24 years or something like that. So I've had the opportunity to build a relationship with my biological father, which has been great. But it's really left me with some issues. Having a dad, not having a dad, not knowing my biological father. And I've said in some videos before, like, I have a hard time feeling like I belong or I'm justified in existing. And I think a lot of it comes from that. Either that or I'm just whiny. I don't know. That's the best I can come up with. But it could also be easy to blame them for messing me up. It could be really easy for me to blame my stepdad or my dad growing up. It's confusing. It'd be easy to blame him for, leave them divorcing and not being in my life anymore. Or it could be easy to blame my biological father that didn't know I was alive. I could just blame them. I could blame them for me being the way I am. But some years ago, I just kind of started thinking, like, the moment that I or anyone realizes why they might act like they act, you might behave a certain way because of something that happened to you, like a trauma, or your mom and dad, the way you were raised of some kind, these types of situations. Once you realize why you might be a way you are, that is the moment that it is time for you to release them or the situations. And now it's your time and your responsibility to work on it. We can't blame people anymore. We have to let that go, and we have to be responsible for the way we think, the way we act, the way we treat other people, the way we cower in certain situations. If you know why you are the way you are, maybe it's now your responsibility to change it. It's easy to say. That's very easy to say. It's much harder to do. But one thing I've realized on this diet is that it has helped me grow up in the way that I think about food. I'm an earner. I earn what I eat. And I made it to almost 300 pounds. But I was thinking, man, I've worked hard, like physical labor. I worked hard. I didn't give up working for the last 20 some years. And I made it to 300 pounds. I'm just wondering what would have happened if I didn't work so hard, like if I had a sedentary job or something like that. And I think a lot of the reasons I got some bad metabolic health is because I ate a lot and then I worked a lot of it off. And so I didn't get to 400 pounds, but I could have. And I might have if I didn't stop. And it's because I worked hard and I earned it. And I learned that in my reflection, this time on the carnivore diet. And one thing about being on the carnivore diet that has helped me with this specific issue is that I can eat a lot on the carnivore diet. I can earn a nice ribeye steak and eat it and it not be too much for me, right? Because you just get full and then you're full. And I'm not having those ups and downs of the dopamine hits and then low serotonin levels and stuff like that. I'm just eating the good, nutritious food that's good for me, that gives me adequate energy, and it kind of helps me with that earning mentality. I worked hard, so I earned this. Now, if it could help me stop shopping on Amazon, that would be something I'm working on. So I know it's easy to say, like, okay, it's time to reflect. Let's look in the mirror and self-examine yourself. Okay, yeah. I mean, big deal. No, it's a way bigger deal than I think some people might think. Not you, obviously. People who watch this channel, you guys are awesome. But there might be some other people out there or that you could share this video to, but it's serious. It's serious for personal growth. I've known far too many people that have given up on so many things, and I'm one of them, and could be so much further along on their journey, but they gave up. I gave up dieting so many times. In this diet, I was able somehow to get a hold of it. And when I finally just started eating correctly get an adequate nutrition. Man, I had to reflect a lot. Reflect on not just myself, but the foods at the grocery store and the ingredients, government oversight kind of stuff, the medical system. Had to reflect like if they're giving us good advice or not. And I guess that's not self-reflection, but sometimes in that self-reflection, you start working out how the world is working and how upside down and backwards the system is. So one of the things you could do is start a journal. I know people will have food journals, what did I eat, those types of things, but you could also get a journal where you write down today, like let's say, hey, today I'm really thinking about eating a Popeye's chicken sandwich. Okay, you stop, get that journal, and maybe start thinking, why did I start thinking this way? Like how do I feel right now? Happy, sad, angry, like I worked hard. Okay, is this a pattern? Have you noticed this before in your life? Why do I think I get triggered in these situations? Why do these situations make me run to food? And I think just being able to name the problem, like I said earlier, now makes it your responsibility. But when it's your responsibility, that means also the buck stops with you. Once you can't blame someone else for your problems, the buck stops with you. And sure, that seems hard, but now you can actually fix it, because if you're angry at someone else about a problem you have, they can't fix it for you. You have to do it. So as long as you're blaming them for it, you can't fix it yourself. It's kind of like unforgiveness, right? Let's say there's someone you hate or you can't forgive because they don't deserve it, they should never deserve it. But here's the thing. The longer or the whole time that you're unforgiving them, right? And waiting for them to die, right? What you're doing is essentially drinking poison yourself, hurting yourself, and waiting for them to die. Forgiveness doesn't take away any of the pain that they caused you. It doesn't free them from penalties necessarily. It frees you from having to hold that weight and puts you in a position where now you can hold that responsibility yourself and actually now do something about it. You have to take this step seriously. You have to look yourself in the mirror and turn away from it and reflect on what you saw and not just forget what you just saw. A person that needs help and is trying, that has heavy weights on them and burdens, but a strong person that is able to accomplish more than they think. They can go you can go further than you think, and you could be more than you think. Reflect and get unstuck. Yeah, what are we watching, or what are we learning about next week? Oh, here he goes again. I have no idea what we'll learn on next week, but if you want to find out, you should make sure you've hit those buttons. All right, here he goes on it again, putting on pretty thick. It's like Sarah McLachlan. Here comes like that sad music, so you feel bad for him. This is a defense mechanism. If I tell you I want you to like me and you don't like me, it'll break my heart. That's actually very true. I'm working on it. All right, later.